Hello and thank you for joining me today for this video. Today is very exciting because I'm gonna reveal to you and introduce to you a new collection that I've been working on for months and been planning for even longer. So get ready to get excited with me. In case you don't know, my name is Daphna. I'm a professional makeup artist and hairstylist. I'm also a pinup model, a content creator, and most importantly, a brand owner of my own makeup brand that is called Daphna Beauty. This is gonna be the main topic of today. So if you don't know already, I have a full line of makeup already out with lipsticks, eyeliners, a blush, eyelashes, like whatever you can think of that you need for like a pinup or vintage inspired kind of look. And recently we also launched a liquid eyeliner and a mascara, but I can't tell you how much I'm excited actually about this collection. Like, I sometimes when I think about it and I imagine people getting it for the first time, I actually get like butterflies in my stomach because I think this collection is like a game changer and it's so useful and beautiful and like everything you need. So let me just start introducing it to you. So I'll start with the collection name because I think from there it's easier to explain what's the idea behind it and why it's so special. So the name of the full collection is Vintage with a Twist. Here is the logo. So let me start by saying revealing the collection is actually lipsticks. So I'm gonna show you the actual lipsticks in a bit, but first let me explain to you the meaning behind the name of the collection, Vintage with a Twist. There are a few reasons we named it with this name. So the first one being that these lipsticks may look like a vintage product, like a very classic looking product, but they're actually long lasting and have a formula that is super modern and innovative and everything you're looking from like a lipstick these days. You know, you're not just looking for a lipstick to be beautiful, but you want it to be very comfortable on the lips, long lasting of course, that you don't have to retouch it every second or get it on your teeth. There are a lot of other things that are important in a lipstick besides the actual color. So it's super long lasting, it starts creamy, so it's super comfortable to apply to the lips, but then it dries matte, because you know some lipsticks that are matte, not liquid lipstick, actual lipsticks that you put on when they're matte, they are very hard to like apply. So this one is easy to apply and it dries matte and it looks like a regular lipstick, but it actually is long lasting as a liquid lipstick. So it's like the best in both worlds. Sorry for my accent. The second reason we called it Vintage with a Twist is because to actually be able to use this this like innovative formula, we had to have the actual container of the lipstick be closed with a twist. That way it's airtight, that way the lipstick doesn't just dry, you know, in the air. Because it's long lasting, if it's exposed to air for too long, it will dry. So obviously it needs an airtight container. And the third reason is because if you are a part of the vintage community, you know, there is this whole like idea and very important idea in my opinion about vintage style, not vintage values, like dressing or, you know, using this aesthetic that is inspired by vintage doesn't mean you actually, me especially, doesn't want to actually be living in those years, you know, in the 1940s or 50s as a woman, as someone from a minority. I personally really don't identify as someone who was born in the wrong era. Like, I wouldn't want to be born in those years, you know, and I think a lot of people can relate to that concept. Obviously, if you are a person of color or, you know, anything, if you're a woman, like, you know, you don't want to live in those times. So the idea of vintage style, not vintage values, is something that really speaks to me personally, and I feel like Vintage with a Twist is kind of like a twist on that slogan as well. So I think it kind of stands on its own, and that's why I actually also made like small stickers that are gonna come with if you order like anything from the collection. That way you can put it like, you know, on your laptop. I'm just gonna show you, like, I have all these cute stickers on mine. So actually you can just use the sticker on your notebook, on your laptop, you know, wherever you want, and it's like its own separate thing besides the lipstick collection. So those are the reasons for the slogan. But let's start talking about the actual products and the lipsticks, because they are amazing in my opinion. Sorry, I feel weird like hyping myself or my products so much, because I'm not that kind of person, but I am so in love with this collection. Like, I can't even explain how excited I am to be launching it soon. So first of all, let's talk about this container. It's so beautiful, and I am gonna share, like, it was so hard to source this and to have them in the quantity that I needed. If you have your own brand or something, you know, like, quantities is a huge thing, and it's hard to have stuff be very custom when you're not making huge amounts of products. So this was a pain in the okay, to make. So if this helps you extra appreciate how beautiful this tube is. It looks like this. It's super shiny gold. It has my D logo on the top and the Daphna logo on the bottom part, and it's the perfect like shade of Pantone that I could have found. It took also like so many tries to get the pink to look as I wanted it to look on the gold tube. Like, you wouldn't believe how much time I spent on just getting the right shade of pink on this tube. Like, I'm a crazy person, okay? Anyway, so as I mentioned, you open this with a twist. So let's see how that looks. You have to kind of use a little bit of force to open it. Okay, I'm gonna tease you a bit longer with the shade, so I'm just showing you how the tube looks. It has this like twist part right here. And we have 5 shades. So I didn't wanna like be a teaser and also launch them one by one or anything. I wanted you to be able to get like the full collection of the 5 lipsticks or either one of them. I'm gonna introduce you now to the shades. All of them are new. They're not like the same as our liquid lipsticks, which is also important to note in case you have already one of the liquid lipsticks. So I think I'm gonna start from like the most natural to the most dark one. So let's start with this one. This one is called Vintage Nudie. The name is inspired by like 1950s nudie magazines, like the girly magazines, but it doesn't have to do too much with actual nudity. It's more about being a very natural color, but it's not actual nude. First of all, because there are many different skin tones, and one nude is not gonna look nude on all skin tones, so it's like nudie. Also, it's not like actual nude, you know, it's not transparent or anything like that. It's like a vintage or pin-up girls nude, so it does have a lot of pigment in it. It is very saturated and it's not very pale. For me, it's the perfect nude because I wouldn't wear an actual nude. I don't think it looks that great. So this is more of like, I would call it like a vintage girls natural lipstick. Hope that makes sense. Also, by the way, all the lipsticks are called vintage something. So this is Vintage Nudie. So first of all, look how this tube looks like a vintage lipstick, but you're gonna see in a bit that it dries matte and long lasting, as I mentioned. And this color is like a very, as I said, like a muted kind of color. It's kind of like a light brown, I would say, kind of warm tone. So let me just swatch this for you. Okay, that looks really good. I'm proud of my swatch because I couldn't really see what I'm doing. Imagine this as my lipstick. Yeah, I'm gonna add some photos anyway, but just so you see, it's a really beautiful color for like everyday use, or even if you're just not a red lipstick kind of person. Notice how even when I'm talking about this lipstick, I'm already closing it because I don't want to have it be dry in just a few uses if I just keep it open while I'm just talking and talking. So just make sure to always close it while you're not actually using it. So while we're at it, here's another important tip. Try not to layer this lipstick on, like use 1 or 2 layers max, like you would use with a long-lasting liquid lipstick. If you use a lip brush for outlining, that can definitely prevent you from needing to use multiple layers to perfect the lip shape. So if you succeed in applying a thinner layer, it really helps the formula feel way more lightweight and hydrating. Okay, so I don't know if you saw, but it slides on, like it's very easy to use, and it's gonna like dry matte in a second. Even now, when I'm touching it, you see there's no transfer, although it's still drying. I don't know what else to say about this lipstick. I think it's just like the vintage girls everyday lipstick. I think it's beautiful, it's perfect. It looks like Linda Evangelista. I did a poll a while ago and I was asking like which shades of lipsticks would you like to see from my brand, and a lot of you said like a natural and a nude color. That was, I think, like the most common answer, but the second most common answer is actually our next lipstick. So drum roll please. Oops. By the way, doesn't this cap also look gorgeous? I'm just imagining this on people's vanities, like that's my fantasy.
Okay.
Anyway, the next color is called Vintage Mod. So it's like mods from like the 60s. Also, I think it's super cute because it's like vintage mod. Mod stands for like modernism, so, or modern, so vintage modern kind of. As you might have guessed by the name, it's like a very muted light pink. It kind of doesn't look as pink in the actual tube. If I swatch it, you're gonna see better. You see it's way more pink than it looks, and also it shows how brown this lipstick is. Okay, so it even looks a bit dark on me. I even wore a light shirt just to show you like how light I am. So just so you know, this looks like a very baby pink or like a deeper skin tone, and it looks more of like a darker but very muted kind of pink on a very light skin tone like mine. Either way, it goes great with like a 60s makeup. No matter like what's your skin tone, it will make sense. Also, it's a very beautiful color for like every day as well. I think these two are like perfect, you know, very muted lipsticks that you can wear even to work. Of course, you can wear red lipstick to work as well, but just if you feel more comfortable with like more muted tones, these two are perfect for that. So this one is actually the one I'm wearing. It might translate on camera to looking like the perfect red. If you have it, it looks kind of similar, but in real life I feel like I see the difference much more, because this is actually an orange red. It's not only warm toned, it's actually almost orange, like it's right on the verge between red and orange, which is exactly what I was aiming for. Also, it took a few tries to get to this place where it doesn't look orange but it doesn't look red, just like something in the middle. So in some lighting it's gonna look, or in photos it's gonna look a bit more red, but when you put it on in real life you will see the orange tone as well. I don't know, I love these kinds of colors that are like just in between, when you're looking and you're like, is it red, is it orange, like, oh, like something in between. So let me swatch this for you and hopefully we'll see more what I mean. Maybe I'll do it here so I actually see what I'm doing. So here you can really see it looks way more orangey than it looks on me. Of course, lipsticks or any makeup product that is long lasting is also gonna be a bit darker once it dries. It is very true to how it looks in the tube. You can actually see just by me putting it next to my lips. The reason I'm really happy with this shade, whoops, okay, you see it didn't transfer. By the way, you can see in general that I touch these lipsticks and there is no transfer because, as I mentioned, they dry matte. So recently Erin Parsons, I really hope I said the name right, posted like a TikTok and also a full YouTube video about the whole process of like hunting down Marilyn Monroe's lipstick, which I thought was fascinating in general, like go watch it. But the thing that got me really excited when I watched it is seeing that, sorry, spoiler alert, the twist was like Marilyn's red lipstick was actually orange. So of course this is not the inspiration for this lipstick. If you know anything about producing makeup, it took months already to produce this shade, so it was way before I saw that video. But when I saw it, I was like, yes, I'm in the right, you know, I had the right idea, because the idea behind this lipstick is to actually make it as like true vintage as possible, because I feel like today we don't go a lot of times for like the more warm toned red lips, because I think it can be a bit intimidating. Like orange has like a negative connotation maybe in makeup for some reason, but I think it's a really gorgeous shade of red. And I think also that something about an orangey red makes it look even more vintagey for some reason, because it goes perfect for like a 1930s, 40s, also 50s of course, as Marilyn Monroe wore this color. So I feel like it gives a more like true vintage kind of vibes, and I think a lot of people might think that like a warm red wouldn't suit them, but like, let me tell you, I think it suits every skin tone. I'm gonna also put some pictures here so you can see how gorgeous it looks on a deeper skin tone as well, where you can actually see more of the orangey vibes of this lipstick, but it still looks red as well. I didn't even mention this one is called Vintage Starlet, so again it makes so much sense with like the Marilyn Monroe saga with the lipstick, because this was exactly my inspiration, like the starlets of Hollywood, of old Hollywood I mean, and you know, their lipstick basically. So I feel like this one really gives a lot of tribute to that kind of aesthetic and era. So the next lipstick is one I feel like I was always through the process the most excited about this one, but since I already have all the shades right now, I'm excited about all of them. But the reason I was most excited about this one is because before the Perfect Red, before we produced and created that shade, I was more of like a cold toned red kind of person. And when I was making the first product of my line, which is the Perfect Red, I was thinking like, should I go for like a very true red or a very cold toned red? And obviously the decision was true red, that's why we have the Perfect Red. But the reason I was debating between a cold toned is because before the Perfect Red I would always wear a cold toned kind of lipstick. The reason is of course because I love pink, and a more blue toned red is more like pink in a sense, so it goes maybe more harmoniously, you know, with my aesthetic of pink. As you see, like this red more like stands out in all this pink aesthetic, so I would usually wear like a cold toned red. Anyway, so let's have a little look. This beautiful lipstick. So let me just swatch it right here. Next to Vintage Starlet, Vintage Baddie, that's the name, looks way more cold toned and even pink, if you can see. The reason we call this one Vintage Baddie is because it really reminds me of like the 1950s bad girls, even more of like a 1980s bad girl of like a Crybaby kind of movie, like Wanda from Crybaby, more of like a rockabilly kind of aesthetic, very like cherry. I think this color is, I would call it cherry for sure, cherry red. I feel like I don't even have to explain this color, like if you know, you know. If you're into rockabilly and the pinup scene and all of that, I think this is the color, you know, a very bright cherry red. And lastly, we have the fifth lipstick out of the 5, yeah. Makes sense. So you can tell it's like a full collection. It goes from like the most natural to the most dramatic one, which is this one. So this one is called Vintage Vamp. So obviously it's like a very dark kind of plum. I think plum would be a good description of this shade. First of all, if you do like a small layer, you can see the color better because it shows you that it has a bit of like purple, and when you actually put it how it's meant to be applied, you can really see how beautiful it is. It's more plum, or like, yeah, it's more, I think I would call it like a plum color. Anyway, it's very dark, very dramatic. Let's close this. don't forget. This color obviously is more for like the darker kind of aesthetic of pinup and vintage, so it's perfect for like a kind of gothabilly look, or even if you're just a more like darker kind of aesthetic in general. Also for like a very 1920s or 1930s inspired look, I think this will work perfect. Also on deep skin tones, it looks amazing. I'm gonna add a picture right now because you have to see how beautiful it looks. So this is the full collection of the 5 lipsticks. Again, vintage Nudie, vintage Mod, vintage Starlet, vintage Baddie, and vintage Vamp. They come by themselves or in this beautiful box that I imagine on everybody's vanity. And of course we have this lipstick brush. I always use a lipstick brush. This one is double-ended, so this side is retractable and this side is with this little cap. We just re-released it with like pink details, so the print is pink to match the lipsticks perfectly. You can see them together, they look amazing. So just to show you how long-lasting these are, like I don't know how to show you. I don't want to smear because of course if I would smear they would probably move a little bit, but I just want to show you they don't stain at all. Let me show you from the side. I'm like actually pressing and there's no staining at all. So if you're itching to get this, they're gonna be launched very soon, so make sure to join our mailing list if they haven't launched yet by the time you're watching this, or if they launched you can just go on the website and hopefully get them. All of them are again vegan, cruelty-free, long-lasting, matte, and very light on the lips, like you would forget you actually are wearing them. These are very comfortable to use, and that's why they're called vintage with a twist. I'm very excited about this launch. Like I can't even explain how much I waited for this and how long I've been working on this. I really feel like this is a game changer. Like, you know, you can get like your beautiful pictures of like, this is the wrong shade, but like of like holding a lipstick and, you know, posing with it, doing all the reels and all the videos and all the photos with an actual lipstick looking tube and not a liquid lipstick tube, which I really love liquid lipsticks, but you know, this is much more satisfying like to hold and take pictures with. So you can get all that and all the beauty of having this on your vanity, but with all the benefits of an actual modern day long-lasting lipstick, and of course a vegan and cruelty-free one that comes from a woman-owned business. Looking forward for you to try this and give me your feedback and enjoy these beauties, and thanks for watching again. Kisses.